Wrestling fans, and welcome to Off the Top Rope Radio, heard worldwide on KQCK radio stations. I'm your host, Brian Shank, and in the next hour, we'll discuss all that is professional wrestling. You'll hear the latest news, informative interviews with the biggest stars in the business, and maybe even a few surprises along the way. It all starts right now on KQCK radio stations, USA and Costa Rica.
Yes, it does. Life's been good indeed. I love that song by Joe Walsh. I had to play a little bit of that. I want to play the whole song, but I figured it kind of takes away from the wrestling program itself. But maybe one of these days we'll do a whole Joe Walsh show. I would love that. I'm a big fan. So everybody, welcome once again here to Off the Top Rope Radio, heard exclusively on KQCK.com. We're worldwide. We're streaming right here on the web. We're having a good time. Got a great show, I should say a good show lined up for you. I don't know what I'm trying to say here today. It's been a crazy day, man. This whole week has been insane, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of things going on in the world of professional wrestling. WrestleMania 30 is just around the corner. The big Mid-South Legends reunion is coming up as well that same weekend. We're going to be talking about the Raw program here and the road to WrestleMania, as well as maybe some other stuff with TNA and whatever else you want to discuss. Keep in mind that you can see the website up there, I should say, the email to our show here. It's Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. If you have any kind of questions or comments whatsoever during the program, send us an email that'll go directly to our inbox, and we'll go ahead and read those comments off on the air and giving you, of course, full credit. Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday, March 20th, the year 2014. I am the host of the program. My name is Brian Shank. Like I said, thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday night. And like always, we're going to bring on Mr. Doug McDonald here from WrestlingRumors.net in just a moment or two. I want to discuss this last week's Raw, kind of going in a direction now where, I'll tell you, I think the PG era is most likely over. And let's bring on Doug McDonald here from WrestlingRumors.net. Doug, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on, brother? Life's been good to me so far.
Did you like that little Joe Walsh there? Life's been good. I like that.
I am a huge Joe Walsh fan.
As am I, man. I saw the Eagles back in 2009 when they did the reunion thing out here in Phoenix, and
so good.
They started like 30 minutes late, but I didn't give a damn. It was so friggin' awesome. You know what was great, too, is Glenn Fry came out and said, "Welcome to the Eagles geriatric tour of 2009," and crowd went crazy. What a great show it was. So anyway, Doug, welcome to the program, my friend, my co-host here for the next 20 or so minutes here. And in case you just tune in and you don't know anything about the show or about Doug or myself, this is Off the Top Rope Radio, heard exclusively on KQCK.com each and every week. And don't forget, around the 5:30 Pacific mark, we'll be having a very special interview with one half of the great tag team known as the Fantastics. Mr. Bobby Fulton will be joining us. Then later on, after that, we're going to be having Tommy Rogers, the other part of the tag team known as the Fantastics. So hopefully you'll stick around for that. Enjoy the interview. They're going to be a big part of the Mid-South Legends reunion coming up Friday, April 4th in Chalmette, Louisiana, not far from New Orleans. And in case you don't know much about Doug McDonald is the senior editor of WrestlingRumors.net. For all your information, news, rumors, good stuff, just go find WrestlingRumors.net on your browser somewhere, like them on Facebook, get all the updates, because WrestlingRumors.net is the best website out there for all the information. So now we got that out of the way, Doug. Let's go ahead and talk about Raw. It was on St. Patrick's Day night, on St. Patty's Day, and what would it be without Sheamus and Hornswoggle, of course, involving themselves in a match? First of all, what do you think about the program overall? Was it a good way to keep going towards the road to WrestleMania? Did they stumble at all, or was it really what you were kind of expecting?
They are still not selling me on the undercard. We've talked about this as of late on Wrestling Rumors Radio. But overall, I mean, it was up and down. But the opening and closing segments of the show were incredible, in my opinion.
I thought
Triple H did exactly what he was supposed to do, and that's really built up not only his match against Daniel Bryan, but the main event itself.
Right. And you know what else, too, Doug? I really liked the way at the end of the show how they really went a new direction. I mean, they called out the cops. There was some confusion there in the whole situation because it looked like Triple H was starting to have a little bit of, respect for Daniel Bryan by saying, "What are you doing? This ain't the right thing." He kind of did a real nice little swerve there, and then he took off the shirt and said, "I want to do it myself," and then bam, start beating the living hell out of Daniel Bryan. And I'm going to tell you something, Daniel Bryan
not only a great performer inside the ring when he has use of both of his limbs, but with them tied behind his back in handcuffs, that was a brutal, brutal beating. And I got to take my hat off, if I had one, to Mr. Daniel Bryan, because that was just insane of a beating for about 10 minutes. Handcuffed, taking those bumps.
Knocked out of him.
Oh, he did. He did. Wow.
I mean, he hit the floor really hard when Triple H pulled him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Like, he hit head first. I mean, this guy took a beating.
Yep.
It wasn't like, wrestling is a work. Yes, these athletes know how to take a fall, but when your hands can't protect yourself, you're getting the crap beat out of you. You're going to take some hard shots, and he took them like a man.
Sure did. Took some brutal ones, man. I tell you, the thing is that Daniel Bryan performed so well, and a lot of people are saying too, like, if CM Punk would not have left like he did, would he have been inserted in this feud with Triple H? And that was the talk prior to Royal Rumble, that him and Triple H would be having some sort of match at WrestleMania. But I'm really digging that it's Daniel Bryan, because we saw the Yes Movement last week. There's a lot of support for Daniel Bryan. And, if you watch the fans on the outside of the ring, like ringside, they were legit pissed off at what the hell was going on. I mean, there was some really mad Texans out there that wanted to jump over that barricade and beat the living hell out of Triple H. It's a good thing he didn't, because they would have probably gotten the hell beat out of them. But regardless, great heat, great tenacity on both guys, a really well way to do the end of the show. And like I said at the beginning, Doug, the PG era, I think it might be gone, man, because that was no PG. That was like almost rated R.
No, they're not. They're not leaving that. Do you see why, when something like that happens in the PG era, it's more impactful?
Absolutely.
So you don't need to do that all the time. We're in a different stage of life. We don't need that every week.
Right.
But when it happens, when Brock Lesnar destroys whoever, Mark Henry, whoever it be, and when you have brutal beatings from, Triple H channeling himself from 1999 or 2000, like we saw Monday night.
Yep.
I mean, he did get some heat. He had the crowd silent, but at the same time, he had a lot of people behind him, because it was very attitudinal. And it wasn't all heat on him. It was, the people were popping for him doing it as well.
Yeah.
And it was, it just goes to show how impactful it is. I mean, the heaters, the guys that got, the casual fans that got super heated by the attack were instantly responding on Twitter and through emails to us at WrestlingMovers.net and saying that it went too far, it lasted too long. The chair shot to the head in the corner, which the chair didn't even hit his head. It hit the pole, but it just looked like it hit his head. All these different things, they were saying that it was too much. Is they went far.
Yeah.
And if you have people saying that, especially casual fans, you're doing your job right as a heel. And that's why Triple H is probably the greatest heel in the last 20 years.
Yes.
He can turn it on when he turn it on.
Yep.
And make everyone try to make everyone hate him.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he was supposed to do. Daniel Bryan needed a full-on heel.
Right.
You've got a tweener in Randy Orton who has yet to go full heel since he's become champion. You've got a crybaby heel now in Batista. And you need a monster heel. Triple H had to do that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is about Triple H, it also reminded me back about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I think, probably, when he was beating the living hell out of Ric Flair in the back when Flair came back and Triple H was, still an active wrestler at the time, and he was telling him, this is for your own good, you don't understand, you just, and he was like, it reminded me so much of that. I don't know if you remember that Raw or not, but it was backstage.
Definitely.
He was just beating the living crap out of Flair, and no one takes a better Crimson Mask than Ric Flair. No one bleeds like Ric Flair. Well, maybe Abdul the Butcher, but when you want to see someone bleed, you think about Ric Flair with that bleach blonde hair and that red going in there. It's just like a pink hat that he wears when he's inside there, and Triple H just beat the living hell out of Daniel Bryan. The first thing I thought of was about when he did that to Ric Flair back in the day. And I like what you said, because when you need a full-on heel, you need somebody representative of the WWE, someone in a high position like Triple H, part of the authority, the COO of the WWE, which is a legit title that he does own. And they're bringing a lot in there. And I'll tell you, the one thing I like about this angle is that it's very much, it's very realistic, because you know, you're bringing in Stephanie, and Stephanie can really play that psycho chick pretty good. I mean, she was acting like a nut, and I was really liking it. I thought the whole thing that they did was tremendous. The way that they built it up, the way they kind of threw a swerve in there about, is Triple H getting soft? Why is he telling Stephanie to back off? Why is he telling her not to do this, not to do that? And then he ended up kicking the living crap out of Daniel Bryan. I mean, I think the whole thing worked so well, and it makes me really want to watch that WrestleMania match now, because here's the thing. Whenever you see something build up to a pay-per-view, and you have this or that going on into the pay-per-view, and you know the match is going to be, usually when you see a beatdown or something happen a couple weeks prior to that, the heel getting beat or the face getting beat or whatever else, it usually turns around and goes to the next event and works out for the person that was getting beat up. So I really expect one hell of a freaking match between these two, and I really expect Daniel Bryan to go over and then go on to the triple threat match later that night if he does beat Triple H. That is the stipulation, and just literally blow it out of the water with a triple threat, because what they teased at a couple weeks ago on Raw, where you saw Batista, Orton, and Daniel Bryan inside the ring all at once, it was pretty cool. Now, I would want to see just Batista and Orton just as a one match against the two of them, but you add Daniel Bryan in there, this is going to be a hell of a triple threat, and I guarantee you this is going to happen. But I also like, Doug, what he did by saying, after I beat Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, it's going to be us three, evolution, so to speak, inside the ring in the squared circle. But I don't expect Triple H to go over in this match against Daniel Bryan. I expect the three-way, and it's going to be freaking awesome.
It will be awesome. Those main events, for me, are going to save the whole show.
Right.
Triple H versus Bryan.
Yep.
The triple threat. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt is going to be incredible. Bray Wyatt is the one to watch coming out of this thing, because he's about to skyrocket.
Without a doubt.
I'm excited about their match, and I'm excited about Lesnar-Taker, but they're not building a story for it at all.
Yeah.
Like they're not investing in a lot for me to care about the story. I mean, they're trying to use Paul Heyman to convince the crowd that Taker could actually lose, but no one believes that.
Yeah.
So, they're not referencing anything that has to do with their history.
Yeah.
And they're not building enough story for me to care. And don't even get me started on the undercard, because we have no idea what the undercard is going to look like outside of the Battle Royal. Right. And every mid-carder is in that Battle Royal.
Yeah. Well, you talk about you talk about the undercard, Doug. You make a very good point there, because like I brought this up on past shows, is that in the past, and I always have to say this, in the past, back when I grew up, because I'm 43 years old, I watched professional wrestling since I was a youngin', and I remembered how every single week Mean Gene had an update, WrestleMania report. This is the Royal Rumble report. And they went verbatim from top to bottom what every match was going to be. And that was like usually 2 or 3 months out of the pay-per-view. And here we are 2 weeks away. It'd be nice to have some more of the undercard, which I agree with you. But again, they are focusing on the big money makers of the night. And that's the three right there. Even John Cena and Bray Wyatt. You're going to have, of course, the triple threat match eventually after Daniel Bryan beats Triple H, and The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Now, when you talk about the undercard, there's 3 things there that I would like to see. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen, but this is what I'd like to see. A tag team title match, an Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match, and a U.S. Heavyweight Championship match.
Not going to happen.
That bothers me, because I will be honest with you.
Not going to happen.
It bothers me, because those are really 3 prestigious titles in the WWE, and the Usos right now, they are the epitome of a functional, successful, good tag team. They need an opponent at WrestleMania.
We're going to see the tag team titles, and myself and our resident Canadian from WrestlingRumors.net, Chris Walter, we talked about this in detail on Wrestling Rumors Radio today. You go to WrestlingRumors.net and listen to that. We believe the tag match may actually happen on the pre-show.
Yeah,
there's a 2-hour pre-show.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting some NXT stars to wrestle on the pre-show. and quite possibly be the tag team titles on the pre-show.
Now, forgive my ignorance, Doug. Let me
you can take the tag team guys from the title match and put them in the Battle Royal, because everybody's going to be in this Battle Royal.
Let me ask you a question. The pre-show match you're talking about, is that free or is that part of you paying for the pay-per-view?
1 hour of the pre-show will be free on YouTube and Yahoo and everywhere else.
Okay.
The second hour will be only on the network.
Okay.
Or maybe it's the first hour is only on the network, and then the second hour leading up to the show is free on YouTube.
I think that's
one of those two ways.
Yeah.
But there's 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a match before WrestleMania, and it's probably going to be the tag titles. And I would put $20 down on the table that says the Usos face the Real Americans, and quite possibly the Outlaws and Ryback in a fatal 4-way or a triple threat if you take the Outlaws out for the title.
Yeah.
Then you have Ryback and Cesaro in the Battle Royal.
Right.
So it makes sense to put that on as the pre-show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still say that you have the Real Americans finally split at WrestleMania.
I was just going to say that. I think that's probably going to happen there at WrestleMania as well. But it's kind of a shame because we saw the Real Americans get a legit, definite victory over the Usos on Monday Night Raw. Clean. And that really shocked me to see that. You know what? Don't get me wrong. I like it. I like clean finishes. I like to see tag team champions go in their non-title match, because it reminds me of the old days when, you know what, you did see that from time to time where you saw two big tag teams, and it does happen. So I did like that. I do like the Usos. The people are really behind the Usos. You know, when I say ooh, you say ooh, so oohs. They're really over that. I mean, that's a good thing because they are replying, they are getting into it. The people do like the Uso brothers, and I really hope the WWE now capitalizes on this and really starts building the tag team division to be something of relevance, because I think the Real Americans are an excellent tag team. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jack Swagger, when he has help inside the ring with a tag team partner, he's a decent worker. I don't think a lot of people got into his character over the years, and maybe he's, not the big superstar that they hope he would have been. But Cesaro, if he does break away, Doug, Cesaro's going to be a future star in this federation. I'm telling you right now.
The problem with the tag division is that they start to build it, and they start to see who in the team could break out, and then they split them too early.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen here. And then you're left with the Usos, the Rhodes brothers, who are disintegrating on the card, and Los Matadores and Ryback.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's not much of a division. You got to bring up the Ascension at some point, because the card needs more tag team guys. And you talk about the United States Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose.
That's not going to be defended because the Shield are going to have a 6-man tag with Kane and most likely the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah. And I want to ask...
That's definitely not going to get defended.
I want to ask you about that. Did you like the whole thing that they did on Raw with the Shield? Because I'm having a really hard time figuring this out, because it looked like for a long time Roman Reigns would eventually branch off as a single star away from the Shield, and that the other two guys would probably form a tag team or stay together and maybe branch out into singles division. And now it looked like you saw there was some dissension in the ranks where they split up and they did this and they did that. And now they're back together again, and they're formidable in terms of being a group that's united, and they stand for the justice and wrongdoing and everything in the WWE, and they turned around and beat the living hell out of Kane. So I'm just kind of confused over the last few weeks where where the Shield will eventually be a consistent group now as a babyface team, or are they going to be kind of tweener group? Will they eventually split up? What's your take on this? What do you think is going to happen?
I love what they're doing. They've turned them face.
Yeah.
And they've sewn up the cracks
to
show that they are a formidable team. They're a cohesive unit. And they are super powerful as a team.
Right.
They're extremely hot right now as a team. They're very popular. So turn them face and have them go a few months as a strong face stable. And then if you're going to take Ambrose out and make him the heel out of the group, how much more heat can you put on Ambrose?
Yeah.
If you have him turn on a heel, or if you have him turn on a face group.
Yeah.
That makes more of an impact than Roman Reigns turning face out of a heel group.
Right.
Because Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are going to leave that group as babyface.
Right. Yeah.
So why not turn all of them babyface?
Yeah.
And then have Ambrose split out as the monster heel.
Yeah. I agree. And
I think it's perfect.
Dean Ambrose has a lot going for him in terms of being a singles guy, and so does Seth Rollins. They're all really going to be good tag team.
All three.
All three. As a tag team or as a 6-man tag against, the matches, they can have a 6-man tags, 3-man. They're all really, really very good in regards to what they're doing and stuff like that. So let's move on really quickly here because we did talk a little bit about TNA last week. We're moving forward here. Bully Ray really coming along now, and they're pushing the hell out of him. Since we saw the Lockdown pay-per-view, we saw Bully Ray now really coming across as being probably their number one babyface right now. Him and Robert Roode, I think if these two have a good feud going, which it looks like that's going to be where they're going on this should be a pretty damn good feud because both these guys are pretty damn tough and stiff inside the ring. And I think I like where this is going. Bully Ray as a face, it's kind of hard because for the last year or so, he was doing the whole Aces and Eights thing. He was doing the thing with Brooke Hogan. But I think what TNA is trying to do is totally sweep the whole past of Hulk Hogan out of the way and now move forward and try to recreate themselves. I like the way in the last month that TNA has kind of evolved now. Hopefully Dixie will stay out of the way because I like the way the MVP now is saying, I'm the guy running things. I'm the one that's going to do this. I'm the one that's going to do that. Do you expect good things now here going into the new month here in April with TNA? I mean, there's some good possibilities here with this corporation.
Well, they're wanting to spend big money, whatever money they have left. They want to go do some events at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York.
Yep.
They're wanting to make an effort to look healthy. They want people to think that they are a healthy corporation, even though they are likely going to... I know that Spike has not renewed their TV rights.
Yeah.
Because Viacom is in negotiations with World Wrestling Entertainment. And if Viacom gets Raw and SmackDown will likely go on Thursday nights.
Mm-hmm.
So I know they have not renewed their TV contracts yet. And if they lose those, I don't know where they're going to go.
Yeah.
So they want to appear healthy for the time that they have left. The talent's there. The talent's always been there. It's always just been misuse of that talent. And creative has never been strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have potential. They've always had potential. And until they get somebody in there to steer the ship better, it's not going to improve their product. They've always had, like I said, they've always had talent, and the shows recently have been better. I think a lot of that has been finally moving away from Hogan and Bischoff, and now getting Dixie off air.
Yeah,
but some of the characters and some of the creative that they bring to the table is just not what a lot of fans in the U.S. want to see.
Yeah.
Again, if they took their product to the U.K., they would be, and stayed there, they would be a formidable force overseas.
Oh, without a doubt. We saw it when they were over in Ireland and everything else like that, in England and whatever. But I like the direction they're going. I think that you make some good points there by the whole renewal of TV contracts and the Hammerstein Ballroom, where that's going to go. But we'll just have to tune in and see. And, Doug, every time you and I get on the air here and we talk, man, the 20 minutes or so go by like that, man. So it's incredible.
Yes,
but before we let you go, I know you were saying that you have a big podcast going on this evening here with your program. Kind of give everybody an idea how they can listen to that and what you'll be talking about. Kind of give us about 60 seconds worth of that.
Wrestling Rumors Radio. It is our free daily podcast.
Cool.
I'm actually going to be on someone else's later tonight, but Alex Beesong will be putting up tomorrow's episode for this. You can actually go to WrestlingRumors.net, and listen to today's episode or any other episode that we've done. You can also find us on iTunes, free subscription, and you can find us on Stitcher, free subscription. Stitcher is a cool option if you have a Droid or an iPhone. Lots of really cool podcasts and radio stations on there.
Cool.
So check us out, Wrestling Rumors Radio. It's a free podcast. We talk about the news. We talk about, like, today's episode is a 42-minute. It's a supersized. Usually we do about 5 to 10 minutes each day.
Mm-hmm.
Today we did 42 minutes, and it was me and Chris Walter, our resident Canadian,
Cool.
talking about the WrestleMania 30 card. So if you want to hear opinions and rumors and expertise on the matter from yours truly and another truly credible guy, go to WrestlingRumors.net and listen to today's episode about the WrestleMania 30 card.
Right on, brother.
You won't regret it. You won't regret it. And you hear some creative, there's always creative elements to our podcast. You get to hear me and some other guys do some impressions, because that's one of the things we've always done. You get to hear some creative output from us guys, and I think you'll really enjoy it if you're a wrestling fan.
I remember one thing about the impressions that I remember back in the day when Miss Elizabeth was walking down the ring with me. Yeah, and I remember all the good
babies.
Let me tell you something.
Babies.
I like it. Dusty Rhodes, yeah.
Talking about the macho man, baby. If it's too hip to be tipped, baby. It's polka dot like a roller dot, you know.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I remember the one time that Dusty got a bit of raw with me, and I had to slap him across his face, because no one messes with the Macho Man. Oh, yeah. Like it.
Well, let me tell you something, Mach.
Oh, I like it.
We can go all day with this, man. All right, Doug, we got to get going here. I got to bring on the Fantastics, the great tag team that they are. Hope you stick around and listen to that one. Bobby Fulton will be joining us here in just a moment or two, and then afterwards, Tommy Rogers will be jumping in. So, Doug, thanks again as usual, man. Always check them out on WrestlingRumors.net. Go over there for all the information, all the news, all the rumors. It's all good. Doug McDonald, we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Have a great one, okay?
We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, Doug. Take care, pal. There you go, my buddy Doug. He's a good guy. He knows his stuff, and he's a good he's a very good part of this program, and we appreciate that. So, anyway, we're going to come back in a moment or two. We're going to be speaking with Mr. Bobby Fulton of the Fantastics, so don't go away. We're going to be talking to him about all the stuff that's happening here in the world of professional wrestling, the Mid-South Legends reunion, and everything that he's been involved with in the wrestling world. Don't go away. We're coming right back. Yes, indeed.
Got pain? Call Dr. Wayne. Chiropractic care may be your answer. Queen Creek Back Care. Located in Queen Creek on 20231 East Ocotillo Road on the backside of True Value Hardware Store. Safe, effective treatment with chiropractic and same-day appointments to speed your healing. With more than a decade of experience and hundreds of satisfied patients, Dr. Wayne Christensen will provide you the pain relief you've been searching for. Dr. Wayne is fully qualified to treat the entire family, even children. Call for an appointment today. 480-677-3900. That's 480-677-3900.
Ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your way.
And we're back here at Off the Top Rope Radio, heard exclusively on KQCK.com. Heard worldwide, streaming 24/7 with the great music hits and talk shows. Electric mix of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, man. Yeah. Pinal and Maricopa's East Valley hometown hot radio station. Like I said, we're listening to you out there. We're sending some emails out to you guys right back after you send them to us at brian@kqckradio.com. That's BRIAN at KQCKradio.com. If you want to send us an email during the show, we'd appreciate that. We got a couple here just saying that they're looking forward to the interview with the Fantastics. And you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let's bring on our first guest. He's one half of the tag team of the Fantastics. He is Mr. Bobby Fulton, joining us here on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank on KQCK. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, sir?
Excellent, man. Thanks for joining us here on the show today. I know that you and I in the last year or so have traded some emails back and forth and talked a few times on the radio, and what better time to talk about the thing right now? Mid-South Legends Reunion coming up here on April the 4th. This, I think it's 2 weeks from this Friday. Should be one hell of a time. And Bobby, let's talk a bit about Mid-South, man. You guys were there, had a good feud against the Midnight Express. You carried that over a few years later in 1988 in the NWA with Jim Crockett Promotions. What do you just remember overall about the atmosphere and the electricity and the feeling of Mid-South wrestling?
I'll tell you, I really enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, for those that do not realize it, that the Mid-South is the birthplace for the Fantastics, Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton. We were put together there by Bill Dundee and Bill Watts, and we went into there wrestling, like you said, against the Midnight Express.
Right.
It was a great place to wrestle. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't realize it, but oftentimes we worked 9 times a week in 9 different cities.
Jeez.
So the schedule was pretty rough, but other than that, I got a chance to team up with who I feel is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all times, Tommy Rogers.
Yeah.
And as you said, together we became a tag team that was able to go against the Midnight Express, and there's so many other tag teams that we wrestled, but we got in the ring. And one thing about Tommy and I, and that the people, wherever it might have been, Alexandria, Louisiana, or in Mississippi, or Arkansas, or Oklahoma, or Tennessee, or down south of New Orleans. I remember one time, as a matter of fact, we wrestled 90 miles south of New Orleans. If you can believe there's a place, there is. But, I'm so excited about the opportunity coming out there April the 4th. It's going to be a great time in New Orleans. Chalmette, to be exact. I believe that's how they say it.
Chalmette.
And I'm telling you, it's going to be wild, it's going to be loud, and it's going to be unpredictable.
Well, you talked about it too, Bobby Fulton, here in regards to what we're discussing here about the Mid-South Legends Reunion, and it was a great territory in the 80s. It was fantastic to watch because it just made sense from a wrestling purist standpoint, and I want to read some of these people that are going to be involved in the Mid-South Legends Reunion here. That's going to be taking place Friday, April the 4th in Chalmette. It's going to be at the Siger Center. But let me go ahead and read off some of these names here. And after I read them, if you want to give me a comment or two on them or whatever else, but I want to read this verbatim here about who's going to be there. You mentioned him, Bill Watts, Jim Cornette, Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey, the Midnight Express, Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, the Rock and Roll Express, you and Tommy Rogers, the Fantastics, Mr. Olympia, Jerry Stubbs, Bill Superstar Dundee, Mr. Wrestling 2, Bushwhacker Luke, Pork Chop Cash, my buddy Kamala, Mr. James Harris, and Dark Journey. Oh, she's still looking good these days. This is going to be a hell of an array of talent, and when you talk about professional wrestling in terms of 30 years ago where it all started, in my opinion, Mid-South was that stomping ground because we saw people like Hacksaw Duggan, Butch Reed, Ted DiBiase. They all started out there and went on to bigger and better things. Not that I'm saying anything bad about the Mid-South not being big and bad, but I mean, when you talk about a place where you really paid your dues and really got the attention of the people out there watching who enjoyed pure professional wrestling, Mid-South was it, man.
Can I tell you something right now?
Of course.
If you could prove yourself to Mid-South wrestling fans and to Cowboy Bill Watts, if you could prove yourself as being a force in the professional wrestling business in the Mid-South, there in Louisiana, all those towns and cities all throughout those places I mentioned earlier, if you could prove yourself there, then you had proved yourself already to the world. If you was a success in Mid-South, there was no doubt you could be a success in New York City, in Tokyo, Japan, in Sydney, Australia. If you had proved yourself there, you see See, it wasn't a stepping stone, but it was a proving ground.
Right.
It was a place where real wrestling then was made.
Yep.
And when you came out of the Mid-South wrestling area, the territory, as they used to say, then you were already a proven commodity in professional wrestling. And it was from there that you let your light shine to other places. And like you said, Ted DiBiase, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, there was Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Yep.
You mentioned so many guys. As a matter of fact, Bushwhacker Luke, who was the Sheep Herders.
Yes.
Who Tommy and I wrestled later on when the Mid-South became UWF.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, people still talk about those barbaric barbed wire matches still to this day with Luke and Butch against Tommy Rogers and myself. And not only that, they had Jack Victory in the corner. I remember, as a matter of fact, the first Crockett Cup in New Orleans, Louisiana. There at the Superdome.
Yep.
There was wrestling, great tag teams from all over the world,
Yep.
and it came down to a semifinal match between the Sheep Herders,
Yep.
Luke and Butch, those crazy Kiwis against Tommy and myself,
Yep.
in a match where a lot of wrestling experts said later on it stole the entire show. That particular match there. You know, Brian, we were so blessed to wrestle against great talent. And, you know, you talk about superstar Bill Dundee. A lot of people don't realize it, but he was the behind-the-scenes man, the driving force for a lot of the things that went on there in the Mid-South for a certain time, and actually helped turn that company completely around, bringing in the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Fantastics. As you mentioned, Pork Chop Cash was part of the Bruise Brothers, and also he wrestled as himself there in that area. And last but not least, we cannot forget the Junkyard Dog, a very dear friend of mine that lost his life in a car accident. But that man there was really something. The Fabulous Freebirds, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great wrestlers there,
Hercules,
that's for sure.
Hercules Hernandez was another one, you know, we can bring
Hercules.
up. Oh, yeah. And you said the Junkyard Dog.
Exactly.
You know, every dog needs a bone to bite on, if you know what I mean. I love.
You know, that's exactly the truth.
yeah.
I'll never forget his interviews and stuff, and he was quite a character.
Oh, yeah.
And years later, after he wrestled there in Mid-South, I had a wrestling company in Ohio, and he would come and work for me. And the Junkyard Dog to me was a class guy, and he was a funny guy, and he always had me laughing and stitches. But you know one thing about, you talk about, you not mentioned James Harris Kamala.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Kamala being there, and I'll never forget Skandar Akbar. I mean, the list goes on and on. And like I said, if you proved yourself there in Mid-South, it wasn't a small area. You know, years ago, a lot of new wrestling fans don't realize it, but it was territories all throughout the country.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-South happened to be one.
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee and Ohio and all over, you know, different places. But if you proved yourself there under the watchful eye of Cowboy Bill Watts, then you were a proven product for professional wrestling. And like I said, I was blessed to wrestle with one of the greatest wrestlers and be a part of a team that I was very blessed to be in. You know, Tommy and I weren't big men, and Mid-South was a big man territory.
Yes, it
Those
was.
guys had to be 6'3", you know, big giants there.
Hell yeah.
And here we came in at 5'9", 200 pounds, and there was a lot of great opponents here. You know, Barry Darsow was Crusher Khrushchev.
Yes, he was.
And Nikolai Volkov was there. And don't forget Mr. Wrestling number 2 and Magnum TA, Terry Allen.
Magnum TA.
When I don't mean to step on you when I'm talking, but
No.
I get excited when I talk about professional wrestling.
I can tell.
And the closer I get to this date, I'm getting more exciting.
I know.
Not only for an opportunity to see the wrestlers, but see all the great fans and anyone within earshot of my voice.
Right.
If you haven't made plans now to be there in Chalmette,
Yep.
that's where all the real action's going to be.
Yep.
You come over there and you should be a part of the Mid-South Legends reunion. I'm telling you what, I'm so fired up and excited about it. I'm about ready to start walking right now so that I can get there on time.
Hey, if you start leaving right now, you might just make it by the 4th of April, and we are speaking to Bobby.
Exactly, from Ohio, man. If you see somebody thumbing out on the road, pull over. And if it looks like Bobby Fulton, it could be. But no, all kidding aside, I am excited.
Yeah.
I am geared up, and I cannot wait.
If you see a guy with freshly dyed blonde hair, that would probably be Bobby Fulton.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
We are speaking to Bobby Fulton, one half of the Fantastics, right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. And I'll tell you what, Bobby, it's great talking to you about this. I wanted to just read a little bit about this before we go any further here, because we're going to bring Tommy on a little bit. But Friday, April 4th, Mid-South Legends Fan Fest. We talked about about it. The Battle Lines Wrestling event at the Siger Center on Judge Perez Drive in Chalmette, Louisiana, 70043. If you want to check it out, go to midsouthlegends.com. All the information is there. I'll talk about this later on after we're done with the interviews in regards to what you can get for your money. But you're going to see some great wrestling action. You're going to have a breakfast of the champions if you get the VIP thing. There's going to be an autograph signing. The first autograph signing is with the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers, Superstar Bill Dundee, Jim Cornette, Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey, and the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Some photo opportunities later on as well. This is going to be an all-day and an all-night event. And, like you just talked about, one of the greatest right there, Mr. Junkyard Dog. They're having the JYD Memorial Cup Battle Royal, the inaugural JYD Memorial Cup Battle Royal featuring the wrestlers from at least 8 different wrestling organizations, a 6-man tag match, a special challenge match, a grudge match, and a tag team wrestling match with the Rock and Roll Express taking on Genetic Perfection. I'll tell you what, this is going to be from beginning to end about 13, 14 hours of absolute pure awesomeness involving Mid-South Championship Wrestling. All the greats got their start there. I read the names off of it. Just awesome, Bobby. I can't even go any further with this. I'm excited like I'm excited like you. I'm ready to go right now.
I'm excited about it because for a person that likes to eat, they go to a lot of these buffets and they sit down and they look at that big buffet line. Well, that's the way it's going to be here in Chalmette.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be a buffet of professional wrestling at its very best, a chance to go back these old days and reminisce about the Mid-South and the days and talk to the fans. Back then, we didn't get a chance to talk to a lot of the fans.
Yeah.
Although Tommy and I talked to a lot of the female fans quite often, as a matter of fact. But, you get a chance to sit down.
Just talked, Bobby? You just talked? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Do what now?
You said you talked to a lot of female fans. You just talked about wrestling, talked about the weather, the local sports team, maybe some anthropology.
That's exactly right. But you know what? I'll tell you what, we're going to get a chance to sit down and talk with all the great wrestling fans, reminisce about the feuds.
Yep.
Not only that, I believe Jim Cornette still got one fantastic whipping coming to him.
Oh.
Whether it be a birthday cake in the face, whether it be a belt strapping, or whether I might bring my own tennis racket down if they'll let it on the airplane.
Nice.
And bring it down there and just give Jim Cornette a good whack. He needs one after all these years.
I like it. Hey, Bob, we only got about a few minutes left here because we'll have to take a break and then bring Tommy on afterwards. But I want to always do something I do with pretty much all my guests. I want to play 5 quick questions. I'm just going to read these off as if I was Bobby Fulton, and I want you to give me a quick reply because we only got a few more minutes left. But I want you to give me just a quick reply. The first thing that comes to your head, okay?
Yes.
Here we go. This is me talking as Bobby Fulton. If I didn't... Let's see. That's the wrong page. Here it is. Okay, hold on. If I had 10 minutes to talk with anybody, living or dead, it would be...
Jesus Christ.
Nice. I like that. No one's ever said that one, and that's the one I always said I'd like to talk to. Okay, next one. The one tag team that I didn't wrestle, but I wished I could have, past or present, would be...
The Assassins. Ooh. The original ones.
Nice.
Jody Hamilton.
Yeah.
Tom Ernesto.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a great answer, man. Oh, that's a good answer. I like that. Jody Hamilton is a beast down in Florida there. I love him. Okay. The greatest rib that I ever saw pulled was blank, and it was against whom?
The greatest what?
Rib.
Oh, it had to be involving Dynamite Kid, but there's about 1,000 of them that run across my mind.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I was in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It had to have been Dynamite Kid, and there were so many of them. Oh, I'll tell you what it was. Here it was.
Okay.
He came to me and knocked on the door.
Yeah.
He said, Bobby, what happened was Lynn Denton, who was the grappler in Louisiana, and David Patterson, who went later on to wrestle under a mask as a saint.
Yep.
They come to my apartment door and said, small packages. I said, what? Small packages. So I small packaged David Patterson. Lynn Denton counted 1, 2, 3. They handed me Stu Hart's North American Tag Team titles with a small package. They got on the plane and left, and later on that day, Dynamite Kid came and knocked at my door and said, Bobby, I believe you have a small package for me. And I went and got the championship belts and handed them to him. So that would have been it.
That's awesome. That's great. I can't wait to see you in New Orleans, dude, because we're going to have a lot of laughs together. I just can't wait to meet you, man.
Yes, we are.
All right, let me read a couple more.
It'll be fun.
There's 2 more. 3 things that every wrestler needs to know is...
The people can see and hear, but they cannot feel.
Nice. Like that. Okay. That's one. You got two other ones for me?
Well, they can see
and
hear,
you.
but they cannot feel.
I got you. I like that. That's a good answer. I like it. The three. I like that. That's good. You're a very smart man. I enjoy this. Okay, last question here before we move on. The greatest rock and roll band ever, in my opinion, as Bobby Fulton talking, is
ZZ Top.
Ooh.
Sharp dressed man.
You gotta whip it up and use it like a screwball would. You gotta make it high. I love it. You know, I remember you guys always came out to that, and then Jimmy Garvin over in the NWA. Yeah, Jimmy Garvin used that too, and I thought that was a great entrance theme for you guys, especially because you had the bow ties, you had the vests, you had the sequin jackets and everything. You guys were sharp dressed, man. You were hella professional wrestlers. One of my favorite tag teams. And when you guys came back to the NWA in 1988 and hooked up against the Midnight Express with Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton,
yes, sir.
I said, "Oh man, this is going to be great." And I just watched one the other day on Worldwide Wrestling, I think it was, or maybe, yeah, it was Worldwide Wrestling, I'm pretty sure. Just brought me back. As soon as I turned on that video, Bobby, I remembered being like in my living room as a kid, 17 years old, Saturday night, hot summer night, the windows open, the humidity in the air, and just turning that on and hearing dun, 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 the music and everything else to the show, and having you guys close. I mean, the energy from the crowd, the announcers, everything about it was absolutely phenomenal, and to me, that was professional wrestling. That's what Mid-South stood for. That's what the NWA stood for. Of course, back in the day, the World Wrestling Federation, the AWA, the NWA.
Yes.
It was fantastic. Not to use a little pun there, but it was fantastic. So,
Yes.
before we go, how about a couple quick words to all the wrestling fans out there on behalf of Bobby Fulton?
Well, I want to first say hello to my two sons, Dylan and Jaron.
Hi, Dylan and Jaron.
I want to say hello to Tommy Rogers. I thought we were going to be on here together, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to tell the wrestling fans, you just described the feeling that we're all going to have there on April the 4th in Chalmette.
Oh, yeah.
What was the place again?
It's at the Siger Center.
It's going to take us, what was it now?
The Siger Center.
It's going to take us all back to those days, the 80s. The 70s. It's going to take us back to those days. We're going to reminisce.
Right on.
We're going to have the time of our life. I told some people on my Facebook, this may be the last time Tommy Rogers and I, he lives in Hawaii, will ever be together again.
Right on.
I want the people to come celebrate our careers, the Midnight Express, all the other careers, what Bill Watts did for all the great wrestling fans there. Not only that, I want them to come. I want them to reminisce about all the great action, and maybe we can tell them some inside stories of what actually happened, perhaps.
Cool. I love it. I can't wait to be there, man. I've already got my stuff arranged. I'm going to be out there. We'll be doing some interviews on camera, you and I and Tommy and everybody else out there.
Yes, sir.
I just can't wait to meet you, shake the hand of a great professional wrestler, and hear those stories, because I am an old school professional wrestler. I like the way that it used to be. I say it all the time. People say, "Oh, you got to move on." No, I don't have to move on. I've got old DVDs and stuff, and I've got memories, and it just, I don't know. We could sit here for an hour talking about it, but we do have to go. We got to get Tommy on the phone, and I wanted to get you guys on separately, and just so we could talk a little bit and just not step on each other, whatever else. But Bobby, thanks so much. You know what? I'm going to give you a buzz before the 4th. We'll talk a little bit on the phone, just you and I together. And there's a few things that maybe you and I could do a little prayer for too. There's a few things in our lives that I would like. I would like that a lot. Okay.
Yes. Hey, right. God bless you all. Thank you for this time.
God bless you.
Look forward to seeing you down in Chalmette.
God bless you as well, Bobby. You take good care of yourself, and thanks for coming on Off the Top Rope Radio here on KQCK.
Thank you. Take care. God bless.
You too. All right, there you go. Bobby Fulton, what a fantastic interview. I can't wait to talk to Tommy Rogers here in a moment or so with the Fantastics. If you want to send us an email, Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. If you have a question for either one of the guys, well, now that we just got done with Bobby, but if you got a question for Tommy, hey, man, get online. Get on there, send us an email. We'll read it off on the air. I know a lot of you have been sending emails saying they just can't wait to hear it, so nothing really specific, but just saying that we can't wait to hear the interview. They're old school fans. They're fantastic fans. They're Mid-South fans, and we appreciate that. Coming right back with Tommy Rogers, the other half of the Fantastics. Don't go away. This is Off the Top Rope Radio on KQCK Radio, heard worldwide.
Another day, just believe, another day. Just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe.
Ami Hazard here. Catch the buzz on the Random Affairs Show every other Sunday, discussing random topics on health, fashion, music, art, and life.
with local and national guests. Check the calendar on kqcklive.com for dates.
When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is dedicated to providing you and your family with services that will make you smile. With a full range of general, cosmetic, and specialty dentistry services that will keep you and your family smiling. Our commitment to our community is to provide outstanding oral health. Hill Family Dentistry is located on 36359 Ganzel Road in Santan Valley, diagonally across from Banner Ironwood Hospital. Evening and weekend appointments available. We accept most insurances and have in-office policies available for non-insured. Contact us today at 480-588-8127. Hill Family Dentistry.
And we are back off the Top Rope Radio right here. We're Wednesday, March the 20th, the year 2014, getting ever so closer to that big date, Friday, April the 4th at the Siger Center in Chalmette, Louisiana for the big Mid-South Legends reunion. It should be a fantastic freaking show. I can't wait for this. This should be wonderful, and I'm really enjoying the interviews here we got going on so far. We just talked to Bobby Fulton, one half of the Fantastics, and we're bringing on the other star of that tag team, Mr. Tommy Rogers. Welcome off the Top Rope Radio, and Brian Shank. How you doing, pal?
Hey, I'm doing great, Brian. First and foremost, thank you very much to have me on your show. It's an honor.
Oh, you're very welcome, my friend. And I got to tell you something. Like in the last year or so, I've wanted to go back, and I think I told Bobby and a lot of the fans who listen to the show and watch the program live here while we do it on KQCK.com. I always say that I'm an old school fan. I like the old days. I enjoy what has progressed into even a great company like the WWE right now and TNA and everything else. There's a lot of great stars out there. But when you look back at Mid-South and the NWA and Jim Crockett and the AWA and World Class and WWC and all that stuff, those were the stomping grounds where some great superstar wrestlers like yourself have come from. And we are talking Mid-South Legends reunion, and this is going to be one hell of an event. Let's first of all start talking Mid-South Wrestling. What are your overall memories of this great fine organization by Bill Watts?
Well, Mid-South Wrestling, and I know probably Bobby is probably going to say I'm pretty close to the same sentiments as I will. The Fantastics wouldn't be the Fantastics without Mid-South. That's where we first started. Bill Dundee was booker and Bill Watts was promoter. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they created the Fantastics. Of course, you go back to the Fabulous Ones and then the Fargo Brothers.
Right.
Same line, same gimmick. But the Rock and Roll had just left, and they wanted a new young tag team. So I credit the Fantastics for Bill Watts and Bill Dundee. But as far as the Mid-South territory, Bobby and I had both been single wrestlers, so we were trying to find our niche, together, mm-hmm. And it was pretty easy. We for some reason as we call it in the business, we clicked. Where one failed, one picked up, or the other failed, the other one picked up. So it worked great for us. But the Mid-South territory for us, probably our best territory ever.
I agree. And, you guys have wrestled in a lot of areas. We talked about World Class. We talked about Jim Crockett Promotions. And when you talk about Mid-South professional wrestling, there's just so many great memories there. And we talked about it with Bobby about some of the people who have progressed and went on to become bigger and better in their careers, like Hacksaw Duggan, Butch Reed, Ted DiBiase, Hercules Hernandez, Nord the Barbarian, the One-Man Gang. I mean, I'm just shooting these off the top of my head. I got such a good memory when it comes to that.
Yeah, and you're probably missing another 40 guys.
Easily. Kamala,
Easily.
We're talking to Tommy Rogers right here on Off the Top Rope Radio, by the way, in case you're just tuning in. Tommy Rogers, one half of the Fantastics, and it's good to have you here. And now this is going to be a big event now. This ain't going to be just something like a little small meet and greet. This is going to be an all-day event, photo sessions, hanging out, breakfasts with the VIP tickets, a wrestling match later that night. How come we don't see you and Bobby team up and have a match that evening?
Well, first and foremost, and Bobby, Bobby, he is the Jim Cornette of wrestling. He's the walking thesaurus of wrestling. Whereas I was born and raised in Florida, and I watched it for many of years with my dad. That was our bonding time.
Uh-huh.
Those are the guys I remember. And my first love was football, and it just so happened to be that knowing the right people. I'd known Buzz Sawyer and his brother Brett Sawyer at the time through junior high school, through high school. So I was a big Florida fan, and when Buzz became his stature in the amateur, because we all wrestled amateur there, he was selling out the local gymnasiums just by a half a second pin on every match. That he was unlimited. So I really, really, really came out of that Florida territory, and I was black and white pretty much. I was, it was all about shooting and what the marquee said, wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you talked about Florida. You had the brief stay in Florida before you headed out to Portland. I believe you went out to Memphis, and then eventually you met Bobby Fulton, and just some great matches. We talked specifically about the Midnight Express matches that you had Mid-South and carried it on to Jim Crockett Promotions. And, Bobby had mentioned about the first Jim Crockett Memorial Cup, the match between you and the Sheep Herders. And, my God, the matches you guys had together, I mean, you had a pure babyface team, bow ties, sequin jackets, vests, nice feathered hair, against two guys who looked like they'd been rummaging through the garbage cans all night in the back of a seedy hotel. And I mean that with no disrespect, but that's what the Sheep Herders were kind of about. They were mean, they were, grokky looking and stuff like that. But, two totally different tag teams, and you could match up and do the tough toe-for-toe stuff, but also have that great scientific wrestling as well. And those were fantastic matches. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all in who you're in the ring wrestling, too. I mean, the Sheep Herders were no slouches by any chance.
Right.
But they had a pretty much of a kick punch formula. They wasn't a technical type of.
Right.
The name says it all. The New Zealand Sheep Herders.
Yeah.
They would just go out there and pound you, but. Yeah. It's hard to hurt a sheep herder because you hit them and it doesn't even faze them,
Especially if you're a sheep.
I remember there in that Superdome and wrestling that night, and I heard Butch come out after I had done hit him as hard as I could. I mean, multiple times. He goes, "Can't you hit me hot any, mate?" And right then I went, I'm in trouble.
What?
And my fists were, hurting every time I would hit him.
Just great stuff.
Yeah, but then to go into the barbed wire cage matches back in the day, and just the guys that we got to wrestle around, the whole card itself.
Yeah.
It just didn't take one team. It took a whole card of great talent, and we were surrounded by it. So, it was great. And then the Midnight Express, one of the best, I think, tag teams to come down the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's some great tag teams. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Young Bloods. You had Steamboat.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Road Warriors.
Oh yeah.
But each little team did their part, and whatever those people saw. They would draw a certain amount, a different type, and so would we, and so would the Hacksaw Jim Duggan, so would the Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just pandemonium as far as talent, and then as far as the people. My gosh, some of the greatest fans.
Oh, tremendous.
That I know of.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the food. You can't go wrong down there.
Everybody keeps bringing up the food. I had the Rock and Roll Express on last week, Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, and they talked both of them in interviews. I'm going to go for some at Jambalaya. I'm going. And Bobby, before you mentioned, now you mentioned, when I get down there, I got to try some of this food you guys keep talking about because this sounds not like only a great show, but man, I'd say, Tommy, we could sit here all night and talk probably for the next hour, but I know we're under time restraints and everything else, but one of these days we'll get together. But I want to throw you what I do with everybody because I really enjoyed talking Mid-South with you, and I think that later on down the road and everything, maybe in a few months or whatever, have you back on. We'll talk some more in specific about your career and everything. But I always like to do this with every wrestler and everybody I have on the show. It's called 5 Quick Questions. I did it with Bobby a moment ago, but I'm going to give you 5 different questions. So I want you just to go ahead. I'll be talking as if I was you, and then you just answer with the first thing that comes in your head, okay?
Are you going to talk with that deep, roughly voice?
I can talk like this. Wrestling action at the Rosemont Horizon this Friday, April the 15th. No, I'll just talk. I'll just talk like this.
And that's not coming into puberty either.
No.
That's all the times I got hit in that throat.
Oh, my God. All right, let's go with the first one here.
Yeah.
If I didn't make it as a professional wrestler, I would have been
a football player.
There you go. I had a feeling about that because you and I were talking off the air the other day about that and how what your passion was for that. Kevin Von Erich said the same thing, so there you go. Okay, question number 2. The funniest thing that ever happened to me inside the ring was...
Bobby Fulton had a piece of toilet paper hanging out of his tights in a pay-per-view match, and we can get into that later in detail. But so that and it was supposed to be a serious finish, so it's kind of hard to get hit with brass knucks. He's laying there, I'm over him, looking at the toilet paper hanging out the front of his tights, going, "Okay, I'm supposed to feel sorry for you right now."
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the popular Dusty Rhodes muffler, was it? Because I know Dusty Rhodes had the muffler.
It probably was in those lines, and I would almost say yes, but you're going to have ask Bobby on that one.
I will in New Orleans. I'm going to definitely bring that up. In case you guys don't know, we're talking about the muffler. If you get a chance, go on YouTube. Search John Nord or Nord the Barbarian and then type in muffler or Dusty Rhodes because it's a funny ass story about John the Barbarian. I guess in the interview, John says, Dusty said, "Hey baby, you got your muffler in?" And he's like, "No, I don't need that." He goes, "Okay," and I guess he went to go slam Dusty. He goes, "Baby, my muffler fell out," or something like that.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Freaking funny, man.
Probably similar stories, if not right on.
We got to talk about that in New Orleans, you and I and Bobby. We'll get to the bottom of this. So, okay, here's question number 3 for Tommy Rogers of the Fantastics. Here we go. Yeah. The one person who I consider underrated and should have went further in wrestling is...
The most person that is underrated and went further in wrestling?
Who should...
Brad Armstrong.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? That was my... I have 2 that I wrote down. Brad Armstrong and Sam Houston was the other. Wow. Good.
Another one.
Holy cow. Yeah. You know what? If people who are watching the show, they know me. I've always said that.
Yeah. God rest his soul. Brad and I go way back. I mean, the whole Armstrong family. Yeah. Bob was almost my second dad.
Wow.
So, I'm really close. And I'm hoping to see Brian, hopefully if he's in the office there, if he's in New Orleans early enough,
Oh, that's you know what? I'm
So
I'm not kidding. I got it written down right here. I wrote Brad Armstrong and Sam Houston because I think those two. Sam Houston had some fantastic matches in Crockett with Buddy Landell, and that I'm glad that we match on that because it shows that you know your wrestling. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I tried hard for a few years.
Yeah. All right. Question number 4 out of 5 here. Number 4. If I was sent to the electric chair and was given one last meal, that meal would be?
Okay, if I was sent to the electric chair and the last meal?
Yeah, your last meal.
Oh, would be steak and lobster.
Ah, I like it. A little extra butter?
Oh, heck yeah.
I think I would have a vat.
Just put it in a little bowl and I'll figure that out.
I like that.
Put it in a little bowl if I'm not asking too much for my last rides, yeah.
And what beverage would you swallow it down with? What beverage would follow it?
Pardon me?
What beverage would follow that?
If you want a foo-foo drink, I would go with probably something like a lava flow, which is here.
Yeah.
Probably with just a regular drink, I'm going to go with a beer.
Nice. What kind of beer? Name the beer.
And I'm going to it depends. I'm going to go for a little Japanese. I like Sapporo. I like Kirin.
Yeah.
But just give me a regular Miller Lite, and I'm good to go.
All right. I like that. Those are good answers, man. Brad Armstrong and the Steak and Lobster. That won me over. Okay, last question. Last question here for you. My all-time favorite movie is...
Oh, I got. Excuse me for cussing.
So you can say shit.
So many 300. I like that movie. There's a new one coming out. I mean, but I'm a sentimental guy too, man. So I like them chick flicks. Believe it or not.
Really?
I like some of those. Yeah. I like some chick flicks, but mainly movies like with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
I mean, but I love. There's plenty.
Well,
but 300 just be a good one.
300's a really good one. My favorite of all time, which I just have a reason for it because I can pretty much recite it from beginning to end, and it's just wonderful acting and a great story, and it's narrated throughout the story, is Goodfellas. I mean, Joe Pesci and Paul Sorvino, and God, that's a great movie.
Heck yeah, man, it had ups and downs.
Yep,
all around.
I love it. I love it.
That's great.
You know, you and I can sit here and talk Mid-South and professional wrestling for like 60 more minutes. Unfortunately, that clock is our enemy on the wall up there. And I just want to say, first of all, thanks for coming on. And it was great talking to you. I look forward to meeting you and Bobby in New Orleans, and we can sit down and crack a few beers open. Maybe I'll find somewhere that sells Sapporo, and we'll have that. And then you can buy the steak and lobster. I'll take care of the beer.
Yeah, there you go. No problem, Brian. Hey, we appreciate you having us on here, man.
Right on.
And all the hard work you guys are doing on your end. So
thank you.
I know this thing ain't easy to get together, but we want to thank you very much, and also thank all the people out there that even have an inkling of who we are or remember who we were.
Right.
So thank you very much for all this, and everybody have a great day. And how we say it here in Hawaii. Mahalo.
Mahalo, like they always said. You know you want to do me. Come on, you want to leave me. Pass the poi, mahalo. So that's
there you go.
That's from some movie. I can't remember which one, but no, it must be nice living out there in Hawaii. So aloha to you, my friend. Safe travels to you. I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks, and be safe. We'll talk to you very, very soon. And like I said, I look forward to seeing you in New Orleans. And thanks for spending some time with us on Off the Top Rope Radio.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me on. Aloha.
Sounds good, Tommy. I'll talk to you probably in about a week or so before that. We'll catch up. Okay.
Hey, sounds good, Brian.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it very much.
You take good care. All right. Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Aloha.
Aloha. There you go. You know, that's Tommy Rogers right there of the fantastic tag team. The Fantastics. Get it? Fantastic tag team. But, regardless. But, you know, this is going to be a great event. And in case you're just tuning in to the show and whatever else about what's going on, let me just give you a quick rundown here before we go, because we are up against the clock, like I mentioned here. Mid-South Legends Reunion. It's coming up here Friday, April the 4th, the Siger Center in Chalmette, Louisiana. 70043 is a zip code. The Platinum VIP All Access Pass is $149. This is early admittance. 2 free autographs from each legend signed, access to all the Q&A sessions, coffee talk with the stars, Cajun dinner with the stars, Mid-South Fan Fest shirt and program, ringside seats for the Battle Lines live wrestling matches, a DVD of the Battle Lines live wrestling matches with bonus footage, that is, Q&A sessions, interviews, and more. That'll be mailed out to you within 30 days after the event, and a neck lanyard. The schedule is intense. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, a Breakfast of Champions Q&A that's open to the VIPs. There's also a $99 gold VIP and also just a regular admission for only $19. So if you got $19 burning a hole in your pocket, get on down to the Siger Center in Chalmette, Louisiana, Friday, April the 4th, 2014 for the Mid-South Legends Wrestling Reunion. I mentioned all the names, but just in case you're just tuning in, I'll go ahead and read them all off for you again here. Bill Watts, Jim Cornette, Bobby Eaton, Dennis Condrey, Robert Gibson, Ricky Morton, Bobby Fulton, Tommy Rogers, Mr. Olympia, Jerry Stubbs, Billy Superstar Dundee. I call him Billy. I think that's kind of cool. Mr. Wrestling 2, Bushwhacker Luke. Hey, good day, mate. Pork Chop Cash, Kamala, and Dark Journey. Maybe some more people popping up. You just never know what's going to happen. That's WrestleMania weekend as well. So if you want a hell of a weekend of professional wrestling, new and old, come on down and check us out at the Chalmette, Louisiana facility at the Siger Center. It should be one hell of a time. So, unfortunately, we got to get out of here. But I want to thank, first of all, Mr. Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers of the tag team, the Fantastics. We could have talked for a lot longer than that, but regardless, it's always a pleasure talking to some of the people who have made things happen in the wrestling world. And tune in next week right here on March 27th. We're going to have another fine array of Mid-South wrestling talent. We're not going to tell you who it is because, to be honest with you, I'm not sure who we're going to have yet. But regardless, we're going to have a good show. So everybody have a safe week. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you next time right here on Off the Top Rope Radio, heard exclusively on KQCK.com, worldwide, USA, Costa Rica. Again, thank you, everybody, for listening.
Hi, Marie here for wannasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services?
Thank you once again, wrestling fans, for listening to today's show. We would love to hear from you away from the airwaves, so we invite you to like our Facebook page at Off the Top Rope Radio. And any emails you want to send, please send them directly to me at Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at KQCKradio.com. We'll talk to you next week right here on KQCK Radio, USA, Costa Rica.